India and Pacific relationship is entrenched and strengthened, but more importantly, the issues that are facing the Pacific Island nations, especially the smaller ones amongst us, are heard in its right context and given support by you, the leader of the Global South. And I put to you as the leader of the third realm, the third group, the third block of nations that must emerge. Those are the emerging nations, and we will rally behind your leadership at global forums.
This is James Marape, the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, speaking at the recently concluded Forum for India-Pacific Island Cooperation Summit. Praising India and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, PM Marape said that India was the leader of the Global South and that the Pacific Island nations would follow its lead on the global stage. He also asked India to be the voice for the Global South on forums like the G20 and G7.
We need a big third voice to be active for the small island nations at G20 and G7. We appreciate your presence with us at FIBIC. You are the voice that can offer our issues at the highest as advanced economies discuss on matters relating to economy, commerce, trade, and geopolitics. For us, we want this moment of the FIBIC platform for India to be the strong voice and advocate of the challenges we go through.
PM Marape further said that small and developing nations suffer due to global power play between developed nations and added that India should fight for the rights of the Global South.
The issue of Ukraine war with Russia, or Russia war with Ukraine rather, we import the inflation to our own small economies. We suffer as a result of big nations at play in terms of geopolitics and the power struggles out there. We are victims of global power play. We want you to be an advocate for us as you sit in those meetings and continue to fight for the rights of small emerging nations and emerging economies.
While PM Marape touched PM Modi's feet, US President Joe Biden walked up to PM Modi and asked for his autograph at the recent G7 summit. Even Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called PM Modi the boss.
Prime Minister Modi is the boss!
As a jam-packed stadium in Sydney shouted Bharat Mata Ki Jai. All this tells us of the rising stature of India on the world stage, not to mention how nations of the Global South look up to India for leadership and guidance. But what is this Global South and why is it so important? In the decades following World War II, the world was divided into two blocks during the Cold War. The Western Bloc, comprising the USA and its allies, and the Eastern Bloc, which comprised the USSR and its allies. The term Third World then arose during the Cold War to define countries that remained non-aligned with either the US or Soviet Russia. With the dissolution of Soviet Russia, the usage of the term Third World fell out and it was replaced by Global South. The term Global South, which refers to the developing nations in the Southern Hemisphere, became more prominent, while the Global North refers to the developed nations, most of whom are in the Northern Hemisphere. The brand line is a visual depiction of this North-South divide. India has both the heft and the scale to bring the Global South together to solve multiple challenges ranging from climate change to an aggressive and expansionist China. Let's go back to the Pacific Islands to better understand this. In 2019, India announced a US $150 million concessional line of credit used for solar, renewable energy and climate-related projects. In December 2020, when Tropical Cyclone Yasa struck Fiji, the Indian government sent relief materials and medical supplies. Compare this with what China has been doing in the region. Last year, China and the Solomon Islands signed a security pact which allowed Chinese ships to visit, raising concerns of China militarizing the region. China's engagement with the region often carries with it the aura of corruption. In March, outgoing Micronesia President David Panuelo accused China of bribery and harassment, including coercion of government officials and stuffing envelopes with money after a meal at the Chinese embassy. Chinese predatory debt structures in countries like Sri Lanka have also caused immense turmoil. In comparison, India under Prime Minister Modi is a more reliable partner, offering real alternatives to countries that do not want to be dependent on China. As part of its Vaccine Maitri initiative during the pandemic, India supplied Made in India vaccines to several nations. China rolled out ineffective vaccines and faulty masks and testing kits. As a diverse democracy, India has also a much wider political canvas for dialogue. India has much greater credibility in the global south and north than China, which means India can be a bridge between the two groups at platforms like the G20, which it currently chairs. Be it UPI, Jan Dhan scheme, PM Mudra Yojana or Ayushman Bharat, India can share its development solutions and experiences with partner countries in the global south. From providing sustainable and scalable solutions to other developing nations to countering the threat of an expansionist China, India's role is crucial for an inclusive and balanced international agenda, which makes it a natural leader of the global south.